Yeah, and for all the people watching this, don't be surprised if this review takes a good while. We have a lot to go over, even if we condense the shit out of this. But yeah, going on to the antagonists now. So, Maximilian Pegasus, also known as Pegasus J. Crawford. He was a major antagonist in Duelist Kingdom arc. He had the Millennium Eye, basically tried to steal the Millennium Puzzle twice. He wanted to use the Millennium Items not for any personal gain, but to actually resurrect his dead wife. Because he loved her that much. He was willing to do whatever it took to get her back. Use this eye to read people's minds and steal people's souls. Also was a huge help to Yugioh throughout the Waking the Dragons arc. Any thoughts on Pegasus before I say anything?
Ooh, Kaiba boy.
Oh god.
I'm gonna say
Kaiba boy.
I'm gonna say this. As weird as he is to me now, I will have to say one thing. You can hate on Pegasus or make jokes all about him if you want, but if it wasn't for Pegasus, we wouldn't have most of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards we will have today.
He technically was he technically recreated Duel Monster, so give him that much.
Yeah, so give him that much credit. And
Not to mention that he almost died making the Egyptian god cards.
Yes, he almost did die, but I will say I always was interested in his toon deck when I was a kid because, cartoons.
Cartoons in a cartoon.
No, cartoons in an anime.
Incidentally, Pegasus is a big cartoon nerd, much like how Yugi's a big gaming nerd. It's kind of mind-boggling to a degree why he would be such a villain, but as I said, his reasoning is actually pretty solid if you think about it. He's not doing it for particularly anything like, unlimited power or wealth. He just wants his wife back. Well, let's be honest. He goes through pretty much everything under the sun to do so. He even went as far as making dirty deals behind back doors. Basically, tried to steal Kaiba Corp not once but twice. Almost succeeded too. He basically kidnapped Mokuba to that end. Gotta point out, he also stole Yugi's grandfather's soul in order to force Yugi to basically play in his mind games. Again, all this towards the goal of getting his wife back. And you kind of once that part of his is revealed, you gotta feel at least a little sympathy for the guy.
He just wants some pussy.
He just wants to bring his wife back because he loved her too much.
Yeah.
He's flamboyant as hell. He's flamboyant as hell, let's be honest.
He fucking died or disappeared.
His wife died of a terminal disease. That much I managed to read up on.
Oh, because all I remember, I don't know why. I must be high or something, or I must be thinking of a different anime. I remember, they were at the wedding altar in the English dub and shit, and, she disappeared in roses or some shit.
Yeah.
That's what I remembered. I honestly thought that was
it was actually because he had her buried with rose petals.
Or if you want to be technical in the Bridge series, she exploded.
Yeah, but again, it was a terminal disease that killed his wife because she was deathly ill when they got married.
Couldn't he just frozen her alive like Nora Prioris in Batman?
I don't think the idea ever occurred to him, to be honest. That, or basically the disease was so bad that, at the very least, he tried to make what little time he had for count.
Or put her in a frozen stasis like how Delmon's dad was in G Gundam.
We'll get to G Gundam eventually. Don't worry about that. But honestly, considering the times, I don't think it was a viable option. But we're getting a little off track here. Like I said, Pegasus, for all his shit, for all his flamboyant nature, he's not the worst guy in the world, especially compared to the other villains. But he's definitely got some issues. Your thoughts, guys?
Honestly, like I said, aside from being a villain, Pegasus can be a respectable man, if you think about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have the card game that we know and love today. And he's very creative with these cards, from what I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you've seen how he did, in the episode with the whole painting the Egyptian god cards. It's very interesting to see how he painted them from how they were in the hieroglyphics, you know what I mean?
In fact, Pegasus blatantly admitted that a lot of the conceptual ideas for Duel Monster cards were literally from his own mind. The only exceptions were literally the Egyptian god cards. Those because he discovered them on a tablet.
Yeah, but it's very interesting how he was able to pull it off, you know what I mean?
And he hand-painted almost every original print, he hand-painted himself. That takes skill.
Speaking of which, I still find this weird and questionable today. how freaking shoddy just basically shoved the whole Millennium Eye in his head.
That's because the price of winning the Millennium Eye will cost you an eye. Hence, you the dodge an eye for an eye.
I get that, but I didn't know if Pegasus even wanted that or consented to that whole idea thing.
I guess. Well, considering that he was pretty much a desperate man looking for some way to, undo his wife's death. I mean, you can't entirely fault him.
Honestly, I'll give Pegasus credit due. For not much being a big time villain like he is we see in the later series of Yu-Gi-Oh, he's an okay villain. Like, he's got a good plot, he's got a good moral, and he's got a good thing and all that. You know what I mean? He's got some good villain attributes to him. You know
but at the same time, he's not a full-on villain like most people would probably believe at the start. Yeah, he's a dick, but he has a reason. It's clear, once you're halfway through Xul's Kingdom, he has a reason for what he does. That reason, you don't find out till near the end, though. So that's the sad part. Spoilers for the reasoning, but there you go. Like, if you haven't at least heard of this series at this point, I have no sympathy for you.
But I think that's all I have to say about Pegasus.
Zami, Mizuki, Crossy, your thoughts?
I don't have much thoughts of Mr. Pegasus.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you guys said.
Guys, he just wants some fucking pussy! Give it to him!
I'm a virgin and I'm not okay. Please save me, I just want to get laid. God help me, I'm only... Let's move on before we get stuck here.
Okay, this one's gonna be a bit of a doozy. Yami Bakura.
Now that I think about it, are we gonna talk about normal Bakura and the?
We will. In fact, he ties into this one, but there's a reason why we're going with Yami Bakura first, because Yami Bakura basically was he's a complicated mess.
Complicated?
Yes.
That's putting it easily.
Put it this way, his past life, he was basically the king of thieves. He was also manipulated by pretty much the Lord of all evil himself, Zork Necrophage. We'll get into that later. He stole Pegasus' Millennium Eye. He's basically a professional tomb robber. And likes to send people to the Shadow Realm on a whim. Or, if you want to go with the subversion, send them straight to hell.
Pretty much.
He's also literally the darker, more evil and sadistic half of the innocent real Bakura. Has basically teamed up with villains, which, as we all know, is a terrible idea long term.
Yep.
For those who don't know, if you haven't watched a lot of cartoons, movies, or TV shows or anime, everyone knows that villain team-ups never really last, because once they get to their goal, someone's going to get backstabbed in the end just because they get greedy for more power. That's why I always say, no matter how much the villains work well together, it's never gonna last.
Also, he's collaborated with Merrick to steal Yugi's Millennium Puzzle. He's tried to kill Yugi at least twice, and in fact, with their final confrontation, he almost killed the Pharaoh successfully. Basically put, like I said, he's a complicated mess. He's basically the result of being not only possessed and manipulated to be the puppet of the Lord of Shadows himself, but he's also, well, like I said, a tomb robber and essentially a sadistic psychopath.
So you say he's the king of thieves, right?
Yes, in at least his time period, yes.
Does he know the 40 thieves?
Probably. Well, probably. He lived in a village of. He grew up in a village of thieves.
Moving on, but
Thieves.
Who knows? With him, you never know.
Welcome to the 40 thieves.
Your thoughts on Yami Bakura?
Honestly, if he wasn't after Millennium Items, he could be the next Jack the Ripper. I'm gonna be freaking honest with you.
I don't blame you.
He legit could be the next Jack the Ripper. That's how I see Bakura. I see him as a weird anime reincarnation of Jack the Ripper if he was more a little tamed. And what I mean by tamed, I mean tamed as what he does what the Jack Ripper does. Yet, because I would be concerned if he does. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't mean just to horse. I mean to almost every person he nearly met. I'm glad he didn't do that Pegasus. He just ripped out his eye.
Yeah, and this will, like I said, this will lead into Bakura himself soon enough. But we had to discuss Yami Bakura to give you an idea of just what kind of shit that the innocent side of him is dealing with.
Like legit, Yami Bakura could be one of the most evilest motherfuckers yet fangirls want the fucking dick from him.
Pretty much.
Hi,
I mean,
how
I
are you?
kind of want it from Merrick as well. So
No, you don't want his dick. You want his tongue. You want
And
his
in
fucking
all
tongue.
honesty, where Bakura is concerned, to put it bluntly, Yami Bakura he's a psychotic mess.
Like I said, if he wasn't a guy who was after the Millennium Items or a thief or anything, he would most likely be one of those most popular psychopathic killers you would see in a horror movie or some
I
shit.
mean, hell, season 5 gave him more screen time.
To be fair, he already had plenty of screen time beforehand. It's just he became the proper main antagonist around season 5. But he also basically has his reasons for why he does what he does, believe it or not. It actually ties into his really fucked up past.
Yep.
In the case of Yami Bakura, I really need to point this out real quick. He basically had the Millennium Ring, which originally there were no reasoning as to why he had the Millennium Ring, but it's revealed much later on that, he wasn't the original owner. He actually was. He stole the Millennium Ring from a trusted friend of the Pharaoh and, killed the original owner. But the reasoning for it is actually a little bit more dark than you might believe. Not dark in the sense that he wants to just take over the world. Oh no. It's because he's actually doing it for revenge. And
Pure unadulterated revenge.
the best way I can sum up what happens with Yami Bakura past-wise, I'll just say it straight up. When he was known as Thief King Bakura, he literally, before he became the King of Thieves as a child, he literally was the sole survivor of a fucked up genocide. Where his own people, his entire village, all of his loved ones, he witnessed them all brutally rounded up and slaughtered to make the Millennium Items. And we're talking, they went a bunch of soldiers and the pharaoh's and the previous pharaoh's own uncle secretly attacked the village of thieves, killed almost everyone in the said village, and literally melted down the remains mixed with gold and magic to make the Millennium Items.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now you see where the horror elements come in. That shit. So we're talking about literally people getting melted down to gold. Ain't that a bitch?
Are you sure Bakura doesn't need a hug?
He needs a hug and therapy.
he needs fucking therapy.
Too bad 3,000 years ago he didn't have such a thing.
He needs therapy more than a hug.
Exactly.
I think he needs his dick sucked.
For all we
Sammy
know, he
probably
probably
just-
fucked a few women along the way when he grew up.
I want everything this world's selling and eternity's topping the list.
But this much was clear. Because it was the Pharaoh's own soldiers at the time that was responsible for this. Keep in mind that the soldiers who were directly a part of this whole process don't remember it because the Pharaoh's uncle wiped their memories. But the process itself was so fucked up, the soldiers were literally going insane from, participating in it. And because of the fact that Bakura spotted them doing all this shit right in front of his eyes, he swore nothing but undying hatred and revenge towards the Pharaoh's family. That's why he basically wants to Millennium Items. Part of it to put his people to rest once and for all. The other part for pure revenge and just outright hatred.
Man, at this point, Bakura doesn't need to get his dick fucking sucked. He needs to fuck someone. He needs to dick someone down real fucking good.
But
If he's lucky, that's all he needs. I have the feeling it ain't that simple, though.
Mm-hmm. I just want someone to love. I'm a complicated man.
Like I said, the problem again, Bakura, he's a complete head case on this. Let's be honest. He's a royal head case on this, and with good reason. To make a long and short of it, Bakura basically, after witnessing all this shit, is anyone really right in the head by that point? Even after all that, even if he did manage to get therapy, you see why he wants revenge. Why he basically is trying so hard to off the Pharaoh. Because he thinks the Pharaoh was directly responsible.
Fucking shite.
It's all one big, complete misunderstanding that lasted thousands of years.
Honestly, I got nothing more for Bakura, because I'm just like, y'all do your thing, man.
Bakura, if you need someone to dig down, I can give you my address.
Zammy, no, sweetie, no. You're not
Hon,
ready.
your thoughts?
You're not my mom. Shut up.
Crossy.
Why are you denying her, Crossy?
Crossy, your thoughts?
I don't fucking care.
Are you sure? Like, this is Bakura we're talking about. You don't have anything to say regarding this motherfucker.
He fucking cheats.
How? I wonder. I'm
How?
actually curious
Well-
how.
In season 5, they were Tim and the others were so close to victory, and yet he freaking uses a freaking Uno reverse card and reverses time, and then fucking.
About that, he technically used the rules. The problem was, you have to remember, Bakura is a big fan of basically withholding information. He used the rules legally. The problem was he didn't tell the Pharaoh all of the rules. That's how much of a dick he is.
Whatever, he fucking cheated. Man.
It's not so much him cheating, it's literally just withholding info. That's the sad part. But moving on from that, Mizuki, your thoughts. I'm pretty sure you're thirsty for Bakura anyway.
I have nothing to say.
You want to join the Bakura squad and get dig down?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. I'm leaving. I'm going to get Bakura. I'll be right back.
No!
Anyway, all right. So I think we've all made our statements on Bakura.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So now we go to poor Ryo Bakura, his light half. Oh boy.
I feel bad for him.
Considering what he's dealing with, you can't help but feel bad for him. He's very innocent like Yugi and naive to a fault. He's also the reincarnation and counterpart to Thief King Bakura. And he also owned the Millennium Ring because his father basically gave it to him. Unfortunately for him, he's also been possessed for most of the series because of the said Millennium Ring. And also was a witness to his mom and sister dying in a horrible accident when he was a kid. And hilarious and ironically, despite his innocent nature, he has an odd interest in anything occult related, resulting in the theme of his deck. So, looking at his deck, you would never think someone so innocent would have such a creepy horror-related deck. So basically, what's your thoughts on poor Ryo Bakura?
He needs a hug and therapy.
That's an understatement, considering who he's dealing with.
I agree with what you say.
Honestly, young Ryo Bakura, normal one, has not had it easy. Like Yugi, he needs therapy and a hug.
He needs a
yeah,
whole
this
bunch
one
of
needs a
hugs.
hug. No dicking down. I'm sorry.
He's too precious to fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He's a precious cinnamon roll.
He just wants someone to cuddle.
Though,
Why would you?
let's be honest. Let's be honest with Ryo Bakura. If he was in the bed, he's a fucking bottom. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry I'm not trying to dirty him or anything like that. I'm just gonna be spitting out facts.
Understandable.
Yeah, like
He a fucking boredom.
a lot of his faults are not even his really major fault of his. It's just he's dealt with a lot of shit. A father who's barely ever home. His mom and sister dead right in front of him. He's had it rough. And that's not even adding into the whole bullshit from his dark half. The kid's had it rough. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, unlike Yami Yugi, Yami Bakura does not exactly, just, ask for consent of taking over his body.
He just does it.
Yep, and threatens him if he tries to squeal about it. It's ironic that such an innocent kid would happen to be the reincarnation of the legendary vicious King of Thieves himself. Yikes.
Yeah.
I suppose that reincarnation to being an innocent cinnamon roll was supposed to be his redemption, but I have a feeling somewhere along the way, somebody fucked up.
Yeah, I think you set the baby down the wrong ladder there, God. And
Or Yami Bakura said, no, you're going to be my bitch.
moving on to the next character because I don't think we got anything to say about
Okay,
softball.
so Merrick Ishtar. He owned the Millennium Rod, developed a psychotic split personality due to a borderline abuse he endured from his family's customs, as the Pharaoh's tomb keepers. He killed his own father as a child out of extreme distress. In the dub, he was sent to the Shadow Realm, never seen again. Let's be honest here. We're going straight to the sub. The sub version, the original version, he killed his father with a fucking knife. He legit magically pinned his father to a wall and stabbed his father to death. And basically he mind controlled God knows how many people in his quest to seize the Pharaoh's power for himself. Started up the Rare Hunters, teamed up with Yami Bakura, and eventually redeemed himself. This kid's got a troubled history, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
And largely because he wants to, be free to think for himself. So, your thoughts on Merrick?
Normal Merrick, again, is like soft boy Bakura, but a little more strict and stuff. He was soft, but because of the abuse and all that shit,
he was kind of a dick, if you think about it.
Yeah, fuck his father.
Yeah. He was a good boy.
Was responsible for this to at least some extent, let's be honest. I mean, let's be fair here. His dark half didn't really take over until, the finals of Battle City. So it was, a lot of his actions were all him.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have any particularly noble intentions. He just wanted to, he felt like he had to get payback on, he blamed the Pharaoh for the life he had to live.
Though there is one duel I got emotionally at that he did with the mind control shit. Joey versus Yugi.
That was directly his fault, and we can't really blame the psychotic half of him for that because...
No, because that was actually Merrick that did that.
Yep. He's basically what would... I feel like Merrick, in that sense, would be what would happen if Kaiba had access to a Millennium item.
Oh, God.
Let's be honest.
I mean, you aren't wrong.
Honestly, against Merrick, if anything, he was just mostly on the set path of revenge. He's not that too. And if anything, he had a change of heart near the end once his split half took over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's okay. He's not too bad. He's just a kid with a temper tantrum because of bullshit. Can't really say much.
I feel bad for him. He couldn't see the outside world.
Yeah.
He had to become an albino and stay inside. You want to know what I feel bad for? You want to know what I really feel bad for when he was a kid? When they had to tattoo that fucking thing on his back.
That wasn't tattoos. I'm gonna stop you right there. That wasn't a tattoo. That was literally carved into his back with a knife. Those are scars.
Yeah, that was carved in. Yeah, those are scars. They carved that into.
They
his
just
back
make them look like tattoos in the fucking in the anime because let's be honest, who wants to see a fuck ton of scars like that?
Man, poor guy. He had to go through that carving process while watching Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
They don't have anything to numb the pain.
Well, don't women love men with scars, though?
The dead silence says everything.
With scars, though? Point is, though, that's the real reason I feel bad for normal American. Just because of that alone. I only feel bad for him because they had to do that shit to him when he was a kid. That's
and it was family custom, apparently.
Custom my ass. This, I don't give a shit if it's custom. You stick a knife at me, it's going right in your throat.
Oh.
Well, if you think about it, that's exactly what happened to Merrick's father.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would go mad too. I'm just saying.
At least he had Beverly Hills Chihuahua to watch while it happened.
God damn it.
Just ouch. And as for Yami Merrick, fuck him.
Now Yami Merrick is something else.
God
he can
damn
knock
it.
the shit out of me whenever he wants.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Oh no.
All I have to say about Yami Merrick is like two things. One, what that tongue do, and two, here's what it does.
Oh my god.
What's next? A tongue contest between him and Kakyoin?
Please dom me, daddy!
Hello, Pinky boys! Who wants to give Melvin a hug?
Oh, a little fun fact about Yami Merrick that we have to acknowledge here. Yami Merrick, despite his run as a villain, you can't deny that, if you look in the Nomad chat real quick, this reaction was caused by none other than Joey fucking Wheeler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason is simple. Merrick was so disturbed, so horrified, so completely thrown out of sorts that he almost lost his lunch at the very thought of losing to Joey.
What I find fucked up about this is legitimately how he could have actually. I almost felt bad. Joey should have won that one.
He really should have, let's be honest.
But because of plot reasons and all that, which I find stupid, but I know it's not legitimate plot reasons, but that's what I'm calling it because that's what it feels like, to be honest.
Yeah.
He legitimately, Joey stamina just fucking gave out at the end because he taking a hit from the Wing Driver Raw. This is what did him in. He legitimately could have ended the duel if the attack went through.
Like I said, the worst part about this, again, it was purely due to just complete bullshit that Merrick, let's be fair here, Merrick, for all the crap he gave Joey, for all the misery and pain and absolute just complete fuckery he put Joey through, after all the shit he did against Mai, after all the shit he did against pretty much anyone he faced, this was the one duel that he was not sure if he could actually survive. But yeah, like, for better or worse, this was one of the most sadistic psychopaths in the entire series. And yet,
sadistic psychopath
and yet, let's be honest here. For all his skill, for all of his bluster, for all of, like, everything he stood for, he was terrified at the thought of losing to Joey, of all people.
Also, let's not forget how Kaiba almost lost to Joey.
Uh-huh.
That was a funny thing. But yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Yami Merrick, people.
Sadistic psychopath that can me whenever he wants.
Oh, you want to be the first to give me a hug, then?
In another way, yes.
Oh my lord. Okay, but as we said, he eventually redeemed himself and actually gave his Millennium Rod to the Pharaoh.
Giggity.
Yep.
He could give me the Millennium Rod whenever he wants.
For the first time ever on 4Kids TV, see how it all began with the original Yu-Gi-Oh! The original rivals, the original monsters, the original duels. So join the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Adventure from the very beginning, and also catch Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters every weekend only on 4Kids TV on Fox.
They might not be the Breakfast Club, but they've got the highest GPA around. The highest Ghost Point average, that is. Featuring the voices of Hilary Haig, Chris Patton, Greg Ayers, Monica Rial, Christine Otten, and Rob Mungle, this is one anime every fan will definitely want to scare. Bet the PTA's gonna freak, but I like it. So don't miss Ghost Stories.
For the next time on Retro Warriors.
Yugi, the true test will now begin!